Good afternoon, it's meteorologist Michael Fecka and welcome back to the 2:30 afternoon weather update. We do these every day, Monday through Sunday now. In addition to our 9 p.m. streaming show, you'll be able to get two different forecasts here, one during the day and one at night now going forward. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms as well as to Facebook and YouTube. So if you're joining us from either place, please feel free to leave us a question or a comment. Hopefully I'll be able to go through everything as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer any questions individually for you. But let's get started here with a look at our headlines. First things first, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. And unfortunately, we've got rain moving in here through the rest of this afternoon, overnight, and into early Sunday morning. So we're looking at a rather soggy Valentine's Day weekend, but hopefully that doesn't put too much of a damper on any of your plans. And looking ahead to next week, we're still tracking out a spring-like warm-up once again. We could be topping back out in the 60s, maybe even touching 70 degrees by the middle of next week. And then a cold front looks like it's going to move through by the end of next week, and that'll take those temperatures back down and bring us our next best chances for some more showers outside of this weekend. But let's start off with a look at our Doppler radar across the country. So right now we're looking at this area of low pressure. Yesterday it was developing over the four corners of the U.S. and now it's sliding eastward here, bringing some thunderstorm activity to portions of Texas and down into Louisiana through this afternoon. But for us here in the tri-state, we're just getting a good wallop of rainfall here through the rest of the day, and that's going to be out ahead of that warm front you see there. But let's take a closer look at the tri-state. We had a little band of rain push through a little bit earlier this afternoon. The bulk of the precipitation still kind of off to our west and to our southwest. So this will continue to fill in and move in as that rain pushes through from southwest to northeast across the tri-state. So here's a look at the future radar through the rest of this afternoon. Again, rain will continue to fill in intensity and in coverage, especially overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning before all of this rain begins to taper off by the afternoon. And we may even see a few cracks of sun late in the afternoon, early in the evening before it sets by tomorrow night. So it won't be all rain and clouds here this weekend. We've got some dry time, at least for the first half of our day today, or if at this point you missed it, but we'll also be drier for the second half of the day tomorrow, but everything's going to kind of be wet and soggy. So if you're trying to make any outdoor plans, hopefully you got that out of the way earlier today. But regardless, we're looking at still a good amount of rainfall across the tri-state, anywhere between 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches across the entire area. Obviously, all depending on if those heavier bands set up over some areas, you may get a little bit more. But overall, we're looking at a nice, healthy dose, and it looks to be mostly beneficial. You know, we have been rather dry recently, so looking at our flood risk, we don't really have much of a flood risk here. There is that level 1 isolated risk for some areas of flooding across portions of southern Illinois, but the bulk of the tri-state here, not expecting to see much in the way of flooding issues, and that's mostly because portions of the tri-state have been either abnormally dry or within a severe or moderate drought, and it looks like the heaviest rains may be moving through those same drought-stricken areas. So that's really good news to kind of help take that out across portions of southern Illinois, and the abnormally dry conditions here should also kind of be alleviated with all this rain through the rest of this weekend. So good news all around. And taking a look at our storm risk, another positive that we're looking at here within the tri-state is we're not really outlooked for any thunderstorms with this system. A lot of that storm activity remains off to our south and west across portions of Texas and into Louisiana there and into even Mississippi and Alabama. So well off to our south, we're just kind of looking at a good old classic rainy day here across the tri-state. But outside of the rain, let's talk about the temperatures, because that's kind of the second part to this story here through the next 7 days. So our current temperatures are fairly warm. A lot of us have warmed up into the mid to upper 50s, especially in southern Indiana and across portions of western Kentucky, even topping out at around 60 there in Dundee, thanks to these southerly winds. 59 in Greenville, sitting at around 55 here in Evansville, and a little bit cooler there to our northwest. 45 in Fairfield and around 47 up towards Mount Carmel. That's where we're seeing some of the rain kind of picking up a little bit, so that's going to help cool things down. And as soon as we see that rain really fill in here across the tri-state, we'll also notice those temperatures start to drop. Also, with the fact that obviously it's going to turn into night, so we always cool back down overnight, and we'll be dropping down into the low to mid 40s through the overnight hours. And tomorrow we'll be looking at our chances for warmer temperatures returning. So we'll climb back up into the mid-50s tomorrow afternoon, even with a cloudier and rainier start. And again, we'll see that chance for maybe a crack of sunlight later on in the afternoon. But looking ahead here towards the middle and the end of the month, we are still outlooked for temperatures remaining above average here. And a part of that is going to be what's going to happen next week. So taking a look at our temperature trend, we're already running above average. Our average high is typically in the mid-40s here. We're above that now. We'll be above that tomorrow. And then we'll really shoot above that here for the start of the work week, especially Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday. We'll top out at around 60 for Monday, 65 by Tuesday, and nearly 70 degrees for many locations by the time we get into Wednesday. And then it looks like a cold front is going to move through here, bringing the chance for showers, but also cool us back down to around average by the time we get into next weekend. But let's take a look at those rain chances again. Not really a huge chance for showers by next week. The best chance for rain here is still going to be this weekend and into tomorrow morning. But let's track everything out here on our longer range European model. This kind of moved really fast, so let me go ahead and see if I can back that up for you. This might take a little minute because my computer wants to load a little slow today, but we'll get that longer range forecast there for you. Here we go. All right. So starting this out this weekend, you'll notice we'll see that rain kind of clear out here through Sunday afternoon. High pressure builds in fairly quickly behind this system, so that'll present us with a really nice day for our Monday with partly cloudy skies, warmer temperatures. You'll notice those wind barbs coming up out of the south there, and that's what's going to help warm us up through the start of the work week. And then looking ahead here, at least through Tuesday, we stay fairly dry, and then rain chances maybe return in a slight amount there by Wednesday morning. We may see a sprinkle as an area of low pressure passes off to our north, but the better chances for the rain arrives when this area of low pressure moves out of the northern plains and into the Ohio River Valley. We'll see that big warm up there Wednesday into Thursday as that warm front kind of pushes off to our north, and that'll also bring in the chance for a few of those spottier showers. And then that cold front moves through there Thursday night into Friday morning, and then we'll see a nice cool down here headed into the weekend with high pressure building in. So it should keep us fairly dry through the weekend as well. So not looking at anything major here moving through the tri-state, at least through the next 7 days. So let me go ahead and take our 7-day forecast full screen for you so you can get a better look at it. Again, we're tracking out that rain here through the rest of this afternoon, overnight, and into tomorrow morning. By the time this is all said and done, we're looking at anywhere between 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches across the tri-state. And then we dry out nicely for President's Day, topping out at around 60 degrees and then continuing to climb up towards 70 by the time we get into Wednesday. That cold front moves in there Thursday evening. That'll drop our temperatures down into the 50s by Friday, and then maybe even into the upper 40s by the time we get into next week. So let me look ahead at some of your comments here, see if I can answer anything. Becky says, hi, thanks for joining us. William is giving us a nice rainfall report by Bossy Field. He's got a trace so far. Zach asking about severe weather next week, not really expecting it at this point in time. And that is all the questions that I am seeing. So I am going to wrap this up here, and I'll send you guys on your way. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be, again, live here at 6 o'clock on all streaming platforms due to basketball. So the same way that you're watching me right now is the same way you'll be able to get our 6 p.m. newscast later on tonight. And then we'll be back on air at 10 p.m. for our normal newscast at 10. So until then, everybody, stay safe. Have a great rest of your Valentine's Day. Hopefully the rain doesn't put too much of a damper on your plans, but it does look like drier weather will return for us at least through the start of next week, and temperatures continue to climb. So have a great rest of your day.